What is going on, everyone? Darkside Phil here, and welcome to another edition of the Hateful Truth video game review series, where I give you maximum truth and minimum bullshit regarding the latest retail video game releases. And today, we're going to discuss two games. That's right, it's going to be a co-review, similar to how I did this 2 years ago. That's right, with the previous installment of both of these titles. I bought both of these games on the Xbox 360. I know that when it comes to FPS games, they always go head-to-head in the years when they both get a release. And I think it makes sense to talk about them in the same video. So if you are going to get a game on the Xbox 360, you know which one to get, alright? Now, a lot of people admittedly have held off on getting these games because they want to get them on the next-gen consoles, which are imminently going to be released. So please understand something. This review is for the Xbox 360 versions of these games, period. I'm fully aware that there's a PC version of one of them that's far superior to the console version. Like I said, I know that next-gen versions are right around the corner. This is if you are staying current gen and you want to know what the deal is with these games on the Xbox 360. Here goes, okay? So the games we're talking about today, Battlefield 4 on the one hand, Call of Duty Ghosts on the other. Now, 2 years ago when I did this last co-review for these two games going head-to-head, the reason I did it that way is because the head of EA, or whoever it was, there was a big wig over at the company, said, oh, Battlefield this year, we're going to stand up to Call of Duty and we're going to do better, and they didn't. They barely scratched the surface of what Call of Duty did that year. This year's a big year because people are wondering, with Call of Duty, would it even make as many numbers? Because it is, number one, starting to get played out. It seems like mass opinion is starting to turn against it. Number two, Grand Theft Auto 5 was such a huge hit, and it seems like everyone bought that back in September, where some people say, well, I already got a good game, I don't have money to buy on Call of Duty. So we're going to see what happens sales numbers-wise. However, this year, once again, they're kind of going head-to-head, but not really, and the reason I say that is because they're also going to have next-gen versions, where I think a lot of people are going to hold off from buying the current-gen versions and just buy the next-gen versions of these games. But that being said, if you are in the current gen, you're not going next gen yet, you don't want to make the jump too early, here's what you need to know about these games. So first, Battlefield 4 for Xbox 360, alright? First, let's talk about the campaign. The campaign of Battlefield 4 for Xbox 360 is very typical of any of these FPS action games. You are part of an elite squad of 4 military operatives who get sent into China to do some special missions. Early on in the game, the squad leader gets killed and you become the leader of the squad. You go through several missions in China. Unfortunately, one of them goes awry. Then it ends up that you get kidnapped and you end up being in Russia for a while. Then you end up fighting the Chinese again. There's going to be some epic scenes where you're flying, you're on rails shooting. There's going to be boating. You're on boat in some of it, and you're boarding carriers, and you're trying to basically either rescue a giant, aircraft carrier boat, or you're trying to actually invade the enemy one. So there's a lot of interesting things that potentially could have worked out well with the campaign of this game. Unfortunately, it falls absolutely flat on its motherfucking face for multiple reasons, alright? Number one, you're supposed to be the leader of a squad, yet you never speak. You never speak, you never interact, you never tell your squad to do things. And it's very odd because during the story of the game, there's critical points where your squad just goes off and does what they want, and then later on it comes back to bite them, and sometimes even the bigwigs of the military are mad at your squad for doing things, but you're like, but I didn't tell them to do it, and I'm the squad leader. So it completely ruins the plausibility and the immersion of the plot, because you have to be this voiceless protagonist. It makes no fucking sense. It's insanely poorly written. Number two, the graphics, alright? The graphics of the game are very limited. And what I mean is, for the Xbox 360, I'll be honest with you, the game is poor. The game does not look good at all. Character models are average at best. There's so many problems with game bugs, glitches, and graphical bugs. So let me give you some perspective. There are many times during the course of the game when enemies just fail to load. I'd be in an area and the enemies never show up. So I'm like, what's going on? And my squad wouldn't move. They'd be stuck in place. I say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead. So I'd walk down the street, literally go like a mile down the street. The squad never came with me. Then all of a sudden, the enemies spawn around me, literally bloop, appear in front of me out of thin air and kill me because I'm surrounded by enemies by myself. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what, did they test this? There are multiple times during the game, with, again, glitches, where you're not the person who's supposed to open the door. Maybe one of your squad mates or an NPC or something's supposed to happen to open a door for you to progress. It just doesn't happen. Your squad will walk up to the door and just stare at it like this. and never open it, and you're forced to reload areas of the game and completely replay them because of crippling game bugs like that. In addition to all that, there's no imagination in the campaign whatsoever. Okay, I'm in a bunker, this bunker, or maybe you're in a what do they call it? An aircraft hangar. There you go, a hangar full of chemicals, full of aircraft, and there's 1,000 fucking soldiers inside of it. So what are you going to do? You could either try to go gung-ho, which is extremely hard because the whole thing's full of guys, or you could try to sneak, but sometimes you'll try to sneak and your squad won't follow you. So now you're fucked because you can't progress because your squad never showed up. Sometimes you can sneak, even if your squad doesn't follow you. If you get to a checkpoint, they just teleport and appear near you. It makes no sense. Basically, the campaign is extremely cliche, extremely short, by the way. Again, under 5 hours long, just like most of these FPS games these days. Horrendous graphical bugs, horrendous glitches. It's a horrible, horrible mess. And then to boot, the ending, you can actually fuck up and get a bad ending, which is what I got. And in order to redo the ending to try to get a good ending, you have to replay the whole final fucking mission. So fuck that. I said, I don't want to play this shit again. It's just not good. And I'll be honest, I think that the campaign is one of the worst FPS campaigns I've ever played in my life for any FPS game. It seems like they put no fucking effort into it whatsoever. They obviously didn't test it with the amount of game bugs. It wasn't like I ran into 2 game bugs. I ran into about 12 game bugs during my playthrough. And for a playthrough that's only 4 hours long, that's a problem. There were multiple times when the thing just fucked up and I had to restart. It was a complete horrid mess, okay? So the campaign of Battlefield 4 on Xbox 360 is garbage. So you might say, alright, well you know what, that's fine because the redeeming quality is the multiplayer. Everyone plays Battlefield for the multiplayer anyway, so what's that like? Well, it's like Battlefield multiplayer. Unlike Call of Duty, which is smaller maps, heavily focused on just running and gunning, Battlefield is based off of squad-based gameplay, vehicle combat. In that regard, the game excels. The multiplayer is fun because you're in vehicles. Wow, I'm driving in a boat. You can go on rails with a boat, try to find objectives, blow shit up. And there is the new thing for this version of Battlefield 4, is the destructibility of the environments. For the first time, almost everything is actually destructible. So if you know there's 10 troops holed up in a building, fuck it. Everyone grab a tank and pummel the fuck out of that building. The whole building will fall down. If they're behind cover, blow the fucking cover up. That's the cool thing. There's no invincible cover in this game. And in that regard, it excels. But again, I have to say, for an Xbox 360 game, the graphics are terrible. Terrible, alright? If you just watch a few videos of my multiplayer gameplay of Battlefield 4, you will piss yourself laughing. I'm in a boat, right? And I turn to look at the boat. The water effects, you know, you think it would splash as you're driving through the water. The water effects look like transparent fucking rulers. It's just a rectangle that's transparent, that's jutting up, and so it literally looks like you're driving into the water and fucking geometric shapes are shooting out. There's the shading, the shadows, the zoom, the draw distance are garbage. There's times where you're a sniper, you're trying to snipe, and the shadows are going in and out like this. So imagine trying to pay attention to your target when the shadows are appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing, glitching out all over the fucking screen. It's terrible. The game is awful. Online, the graphics are garbage. The gameplay is good. The core gameplay of Battlefield is fun. Everyone knows that, or else it wouldn't have been an ongoing popular series. We love the vehicle combat. We love the huge maps. We love the squad-paced combat, the different modes that are available, the rush mode and all that, conflict. We love those, alright? In that regard, if you like fun vehicle combat, the multiplayer is great. But you're going to have to literally be playing a game that looks like it could have been made in the PS1, PS2 era for the amount of graphical bugs that are in this piece of shit. I don't know what EA was thinking. Actually, I do. Here, let me tell you exactly what EA was thinking. Some new consoles are coming out this year. So here's what we'll do. When we make Battlefield 4, we'll focus primarily on the new consoles. We'll basically just shittily port whatever we make for the new consoles onto a modern console. So what you get is a nerfed garbage piece of crap game that it's nowhere near as good as other FPS games that I've played on the Xbox 360. It's unpolished, graphical bugs, glitches everywhere. It's terrible, alright? The only redeeming quality is that the gameplay of multiplayer is actually quite fun and good and interesting, and I really enjoy it in that regard. However, I can't, in my right mind, and being honest, cannot give this game a score above a 5. because it's that bad. The graphical bugs, the glitches, everything there is terrible. It ruins the game. If this game had a better engine without any of the glitches and bugs, it would probably be an amazing, outstanding game, a great game. Guess what? What I'm talking about, of course, is probably the next-gen versions of the game will be outstanding. But this current-gen version is shit. And if you buy it, you're going to be fucking disappointed. I'm telling you right now. And I know a lot of you are going to wait and you're going to say, I'm not getting the next-gen consoles right away. Do not buy Battlefield 4. It is a mess. They basically rip you off. If you pay $60 for Battlefield 4 on Xbox 360, you got $60 stolen from you for a quick piece of shit port that they paid no fucking attention to because they only cared about what the game looked like on next-gen consoles. It's pathetic. It's disgusting. It really is. It's a switch, bait and switch, because you think you're going to get this really good game, you get a piece of shit because you didn't upgrade to the new console. Fuck EA for doing that. And it's bullshit, and I don't think that you should buy this game at all. My actual review is a 4.5 out of 10. Because it's so bad, even the great gameplay of online isn't enough to make up for the shitty campaign, the terrible fucking glitches, and the horrible graphics. Piece of shit, do not buy Battlefield 4 on Xbox 360. Okay, so that being said, whoa, I know, I just completely slammed the fucking game and destroyed it. What do I think about Call of Duty Ghosts? Now, this is kind of funny. Because a lot of us, when we watched E3 and we saw the promos and shit they were running, we were like, oh my god. So let me get this straight. They focused on a new dog. They were saying, oh, look at all the detail we put on the dog. I was like, who the fuck cares about that? The fish, when you're in the water, will swim away from you. And you're like, what? Who cares if the fish swim away from you? Wow, these little nuances that you probably spent hundreds of hours developing that no one's going to fucking care about. And the bottom line is, when it comes to these games, a lot of people never play the campaign anyway, alright? But let's talk about the campaign of Call of Duty Ghosts. It's about 4.5 hours long, same as Battlefield 4. The difference here being, the graphics are decent. They're not amazing, blow you away. It's the same graphical engine that Modern Warfare has always used, alright? But it runs at a steady 60 frames per second like the series always has, which is a problem that Battlefield has always had on consoles. They can't. They only run at like 30 or less frames per second. Call of Duty still found a way to make it run at 60 frames per second, probably because it is using an outdated graphical engine, but it still looks good. It's sharp, it's attentive, it's actually easier to play because you have more frames of animation. It's not like it's choppy and you have less time to react. You actually can see things better because there's 60 frames of animation. Now, the campaign of Ghosts has nothing to do with Modern Warfare. It's a brand new campaign. You are an elite group of paramilitary. You're basically in the future, and terrorists have taken over this network of satellites that can shoot lasers down at the planet. They've destroyed major cities and most of the governmental infrastructure of North America, okay? It's basically a story of North America versus South America. South America has become this amazing terrorist organization called the Federation, and they're trying to take out North America. So you are in a group of elite people who are going around the world trying to do certain objectives to stop this federation of terror, okay? It's hit or miss. The best way I can describe this is you have to treat it like it's a 1980s, early 1990s action movie. Completely suspend your disbelief. There will be the most preposterous things you've ever seen in your life going on in this game. Astronauts with guns. I'm not kidding you. There's entire sequences where you're in space in a spacesuit flying around shooting people like it's fucking James Bond or something, alright? There's this whole sequence underwater. Again, I say James Bond. You're underwater and you're swimming around these different places in the reef shooting people underwater. It's weird. It doesn't feel like Call of Duty at all. It's very odd. But then again, there are long stretches that play exactly like the traditional Call of Duty. Nothing new here to see. The one real new addition here is the dog. There are a couple stages where you have a dog named Riley, and you can actually, if you can believe it, use remote control on smart glass. I know, you're like, what? Yeah, in the game you have a fucking a tablet, and you use it to control the dog. And you can actually control the dog where you run up stealthily and you try to Metal Gear Solid with a dog, kill enemies from behind without them catching you. It's preposterous, it's ridiculous, it has nothing to do with the game, but I think they put it in there to say, oh, here's some variety, it's not the same old Call of Duty campaign. For some you might find it interesting, and others are just going to find it laugh out loud hilarious that this is in the game. Okay, so the campaign itself, I will tell you this, definitively, yes, that campaign is much better than the Battlefield 4 campaign. You can tell at least they tried. However, there's this big area of controversy right now on the internet because the ending of Call of Duty Ghosts is literally the same ending as Modern Warfare 2 with a twist. And I'm not going to tell you what the twist is, but frame for frame, you can actually compare the endings, and they're almost identical except for this twist ending. And a lot of people are complaining, look, they're lazy, and they didn't put effort. Look, they just copy and pasted from Modern Warfare 2. But I don't think you got it. They were going for that. Like I said, this whole thing is supposed to be like a 1980s, 1990s, tongue-in-cheek, cliche action movie kind of a game. They wanted to show you, look, it's almost the same ending, but we've twisted it, and now you're interested because this is a new storyline. This is not the storyline from Modern Warfare, and we want you to come back for a sequel. The ending actually teases at a sequel directly. So, I think people are not getting what they were going for. I think they were intentionally trying to make it like the end of Modern Warfare 2 to hook you in and say, nope, here's a twist, you didn't expect that, and buy the next game to continue the story, alright? I'm not saying it's a great ending by any means. I think it's cheap that they're so confident that this game's going to do well that they know they're going to make a sequel to this storyline. But then again, it is an insane seller every year, so I don't see why they wouldn't think that they were going to go with a sequel, okay? Now let's talk about the multiplayer. There's actually 2 multiplayer modes in Call of Duty Ghosts. You got your standard multiplayer, which has all your different, playlists. You got your team deathmatch, your free-for-all, your domination. There are a couple new modes this year. One's called Crank. And this is the most interesting of all of them, I think. What it is that if you kill someone, you now have 30 seconds. If you don't do anything within 30 seconds, you die. But you also get a speed, I believe it's speed, slight health, and actually damage boost. And you have 30 seconds to kill someone else. If you succeed in killing someone else, you now get another 30 seconds to kill someone else. So it's kind of like you kill someone, you become superhuman, run through the freaking map trying to do superhuman feats. And it's interesting, but at the same time, it's quite annoying. Because, especially if you're just trying to learn the maps or whatever, it's a mother bitch because you got people who are super powered running through fucking everything up, and it's extremely hard to even, excuse me, it's extremely hard to stop them, alright? It's the most insane mode in the game, but at least they were going for something different here, alright? So let's talk about just the main multiplayer modes. The problem is, here's the thing, they fucked up. And I can understand they tried to do something new and different. They wanted Call of Duty Ghosts to be different from Modern Warfare. They fucked up. Because what they wanted to do is, we're going to make it more fast-paced. It's not going to be about necessarily finding quick scoping, and that's the abusive strategy, and everyone does it this year. Because we're going to make the maps really small and or really big. It's either small or huge this year. Okay? And we want it to be boom, 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 kill, 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 action, non-stop action. It's going to be a different kind of game than the previous Modern Warfare games. There's a problem with that. The problem is, it's insane. Like, for example, you will play the game, and you're just starting out. You'll spawn, take 2 steps, get shot in the side of the head. What? You'll spawn, walk out 1 doorway, turn to the right, oh, there's a guy, you're dead already. And you're like, what's going on? Like, I just spawned. It hasn't even been 5 seconds, and already there's enemies? I kid you not. You can watch my multiplayer videos if you don't believe me. There were multiple times during the 2 sets of gameplay that I played of Ghosts Online, where I spawned with an enemy staring me in the face, and they went, hello, welcome to the world, boop, goodbye. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of a game makes you die instantly when you spawn because the spawns are so bad and because the maps are so shitty? And that's the #1 complaint. People are complaining for different reasons, but people are basically saying the maps of Call of Duty Ghosts are awful. There's huge potential for camping, huge potential for spawn abuse and spawn camping, and it's just that's all anyone does anymore. So within a week, the game's become a piece of shit. After a day, basically everyone found out how to abuse the system. They did, and now the game is terrible. You can't even play without getting killed instantly every time you fucking spawn. Now the other exception to the rule, there are some larger scale maps, but the maps are like labyrinths. There's an upper level, a medium level, a lower level. There's a tower here, but there's ground here, underground, a tunnel here, and here. And it's very, very difficult to get anything going on these maps because you don't know where the fuck anybody is. You get lost on the fucking maps. And of course, as you play the game more, you'll learn the maps. But it's just like, it's not. I remember with the previous Call of Duties, and I've played every Call of Duty since the beginning. Literally, I played Call of Duty 1. And every single one, I've been able to play and have fun with the multiplayer. I would play it, and I would, regardless of if I was good at it, I would still have fun. I would get kill streaks. I would be having a lot of fun. This one, I can't. I cannot play it for more than a few seconds without getting killed. I don't enjoy it at all. It seems like it's just about chaos and chaos and cheating, literally cheap cheating tactics, rather than any kind of fun. And I'm sorry, the core of a game should be fun. Battlefield's online looks like shit on Xbox 360, but at least it's fun when you play it. This is the opposite of fun. This is just chaos for the sake of making something different. So we could say it's a new line of games. This is how it's different. It's garbage. They experimented. They tried something new. They failed miserably. The online multiplayer of Call of Duty Ghosts is the worst multiplayer of any Modern Warfare game, of any Call of Duty game ever. I've played every single one. It's the worst multiplayer ever. Alright? It's really garbage. If there was ever a year for you to skip the multiplayer of Call of Duty, this is it. This is fucked up. Alright? Now, there is one more mode I want to talk about. It's called Extinction. Now, if you remember correctly, this is the Infinity Ward year to make Call of Duty, not Treyarch, and therefore Infinity Ward wanted to do something new for a new line of games. Previously, it was Spec Ops for the Modern Warfare games. This year, they gave us Extinction. Extinction is a 4-player cooperative survival mode, similar to the Zombies mode of the Treyarch-made Call of Duty games, however, a lot different. In this mode, basically it's waves of enemies, which again, just like zombies, however, it's in different locations. You're constantly moving from one part of a town to another part of a town, placing a drill to drill into some kind of alien growth, and as you do that, waves of melee aliens, and also aliens that shoot projectile acid, come at you. And you have to grab weapons from out the map. You earn money for kills so you can buy better weapons, similar to zombies. But unlike zombies, you actually have personal loadouts and perks. So you can be a medic and you have the ability to heal people really quickly. You could be a tank and you could upgrade your health so that you have massive amounts of health. It's very hard to down you, okay? And these perks also, IMF, so you can throw down explosives that are triggered by proximity. You can do rocket launcher, grenade turrets, machine gun turrets. There's a lot of abilities you unlock as you play it, and you get more experience points, you level up, you get better abilities that you can unlock for the game. And if you play it from start to finish and you know what you're doing and you do it perfectly, you could probably beat it in about 90 minutes. But if you don't know, like we didn't know when we were playing, we made 3 serious runs at it, me and my friends, and we got to the very end, the last one, and we died because of glitches. You can believe it. A fucking audio bug on Xbox 360 with voice chat, had nothing to do with the game at all. So we got fucked by Xbox Live, thanks Microsoft. But we almost beat it, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. You really need to have teamwork, people helping each other out. Strategy. Once we played it the 3rd time, we were turboing through it because we knew exactly what to do against certain opponents, certain enemies. We knew what to do against these hives and things we were supposed to be blowing up. It's very interesting. It's very fun. I do like it, but the problem is I like it way more than the campaign and the multiplayer. For me, the best part of Call of Duty Ghosts was Extinction. And that's sad because it's only a 90-minute long mode. Once you beat it, that's it. Until the next DLC pack comes out where there's going to be another map. And then again, if you want to buy another DLC, $10 or $15, whatever they're going to charge you in a couple months, just to get the Extinction map when the main multiplayer sucks dick, alright? The game is garbage. I hate to say this, Call of Duty Ghosts is garbage. It's a game that you can tell they wanted to change it up. They didn't know what the fuck to do. They're a one-trick pony. And so when they changed it for the worse. The only redeeming quality is that the campaign is kind of fun. If you, again, suspend your disbelief and treat it like an 80s, 90s action movie, the graphics are good. There's no graphical bugs at all. It runs at a solid 60 frames per second. So in that regard, it's quite good. But outside of those two things, the multiplayer is trash. So how do you judge a game like that, alright? I'll be honest with you. It's not a very good game. It's the only people who are going to be in love with this game are the people who are in love with Call of Duty every single year. This is not the year for you to jump in, even though despite what despite what Infinity Ward is saying, oh, this is a new plot, you should jump in now. This is the year to skip Call of Duty altogether. The game is horrible, alright? For its main focus, which is supposed to be the online multiplayer, they did a piss poor job. They obviously did not know what the fuck they were doing. And hopefully in 2 years when they come out with another Ghost, they'll fix it. For now, it's crap. And until I'm convinced that they've changed it, I don't even know if I'm going to buy the next Ghosts game. Alright? It's that fucking bad. How do I rate it? Well, the thing is, versus Battlefield, Battlefield is barely functional because of all the graphical bugs and glitches. That's why I gave it a 4.5. Call of Duty Ghosts is functional. It does work. The graphics are good. It's just that the gameplay is terrible. They really fucked up with the spawn camping and stuff. But you do get a fun campaign, and you get extinction mode, so technically it has more content than Battlefield 4. So for that, I have to give it a few extra points. I'm going to give Call of Duty Ghosts a 6. A 6 out of 10. Now keep in mind, on my scale, that means better than average, but not amazing or good or even, great. It's good. So it's good in that regard. If you can get over the fact that the multiplayer has the spawn camping, and you want to play the game completely differently from any other Modern Warfare game, fine, you can, but I don't find it fun. That's my personal preference. So here's the thing, and here's my thought, again, when it comes to these games. Battlefield 4 is a bad game because they ported it poorly to the Xbox 360. However, that game has potential that on a next-gen console, if the graphics are great, if the bugs are fixed, the glitches are fixed, and it looks sweet, the online multiplayer might excel. Because like I said, I had a lot of fun playing the online multiplayer of Battlefield, but there were just too many problems for me to enjoy the game as a whole. Call of Duty Ghosts, the problem with it, the core of the game is garbage. The core, which is the multiplayer, is the fucked up part of it. So when the core of your game is fucked up, it doesn't matter how good it looks on next gen, it's still going to be fucked up. So if you really want my opinion, if you're going to buy one FPS game for a next gen console, you got to make it Battlefield 4. Fuck Call of Duty. They don't know what they're doing anymore. They obviously are grasping at straws because they make one game a year now. They failed. This game is terrible. I say Battlefield 4 for the Xbox 360 is a skip. Call of Duty Ghosts for the Xbox 360 is a skip. But if you're going to get one for a next-gen console, get Battlefield 4 because the multiplayer online is functional, fun, and is the best multiplayer of the two games definitively this year. Overall, if it functions properly on next-gen, Battlefield 4 will be the best game. And it remains to be seen because I am going to get Battlefield 4 on PlayStation 4, and I'm going to let you know at a later date whether or not it's good or not. So that's it. That's been the Hateful Truth for both games. I hope that you found it informative. I'm really hurrying now to wrap it up because I know I'm about out of time. Thank you very much for tuning into the Hateful Truth. I'll see you next time. I hope I give you maximum truth, minimum bullshit. I just told you all the shit none of those mainstream reviewers are going to fucking tell you because they don't have the balls to do it. They'll just kiss the game's ass and not talk about the real negatives. Skip both these games on Xbox 360 this year. It's a complete waste of time. Wait for next gen. Thank you very much. See you next time on the Hateful Truth. Peace.